Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm gonna show you the Ag-Nav and Lightbar mod and some basic aerial application patterns to understand what you are doing. Somehow there has been no real tutorial on this great freeware mod yet, so I felt like I had to do one. You might have been stumbling across it by the OH500 by Teox, where it has been incorporated with the latest update so that you can even use it in the career mode. But actually, it is a freeware mod that you can download via Ag-Flightsimmer and modifies all your default crop dusting airplanes and helicopters in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. You will also find the download link in the video description below. Today we have a look at it in the Cessna Ag truck, but it works in the exact same way in the air tractor and the H125, R66 and the OH500 helicopters. The Ag-Nav mod is pretty similar to real-world agricultural GPS systems. You have separate display in your cockpit with all the information, and you have a light bar on your cowling that displays the essential numbers right in front of in your line of sight. In the other helicopters, the light bar is placed inside the cockpit right beside the tablet. Before we learn how to operate the Ag-Nav, we have to look at some basics of aerial application. And from there on you will see the Ag-Nav is a pretty easy and straightforward system to use. So here's our task for today. We want to spray this square field right in the middle. The most straightforward method to use would be to pick one side of the field and from there on work your way all across the field, one line besides the other. This is what you would normally do when you have very long fields. But as you can see, with this square field here, this is a lot of flying and a lot of curves and not very efficient. Here you would rather go with the racetrack pattern. And this one looks in the following way. Again, you fly your first line from A to B, and then you make a wide 180-degree turn to the opposite side of the field and lay your C line. And if you look at the points A, B and C, those 3 points perfectly define the area that you want to spray. And you will see this is exactly what the Ag-Nav also does. You set the point A, the point B and the point C. And this is how your system knows what area you want to spray. Now let's continue with the racetrack pattern. After the C line, you return to the first side of the field and lay another line besides the AB line. And from there you make a tighter 180-degree turn to the middle of the field. And then you start your spiraling motion across the field. So this is what the racetrack pattern would look like. Now you can shorten this up and turn right away from the AB line to the middle of the field and lay your C line in the middle of the field. And this would be called the quick racetrack pattern. So you see you skip one step and start right with the circling motion across the field. And there we have learned our first 3 patterns of aerial application. The back-to-back pattern, where you lay one line besides the other. The racetrack pattern, where you start on one side of the field, fly to the other one and then start into your circling motion across the field. Or the quick racetrack, where you skip the opposite side and start right away from the AB line to the middle of the field and then continue with a circling motion. There are some other patterns, which would be the reverse racetrack, which is basically you exchange the C line and the AB line of the quick racetrack. So you start the AB line in the middle of your field, fly to one side where you lay your C line. And then we have the squeeze and the expand pattern, which work in a quite different way. So at the squeeze, you fly the AB line, fly to the opposite side of the field, set your C line, and then you are spiraling down your way in tighter and tighter curves across the field until you end in the middle of the field to set the final line. This pattern takes advantage of the fact that your plane is getting lighter and lighter through the spraying cycle, so that you can fly tighter and tighter curves. And then there is the expand, which is basically a reverse squeeze. You start in the middle of the field with a very tight turn, and then your turns become wider and wider until in the end you have reached the outside of your field. To be honest, I'm not quite sure how and why you would use this pattern, because I do not see a real advantage for this one, but maybe you know and can let me know in the comments. Okay, so much for the theory. Now let's have a look at our system. Here you see the tablet you have in your cockpit with all the information on it. You've got a top bar, then a bottom bar with a back button, a next button to toggle between the steps, and a mark button, which is a bit misleading because the mark button does not at all have anything to do with marking your A, B or C point for the spraying run. The mark button is simply there to mark random waypoints which may be of interest for you, like marking your airfield you're operating from, or other waypoints you might need for your spraying run. Then you have on the side your sidebar with pretty much useful information on the current weather, which is the wind direction, the wind speed, temperature, pressure, your ground speed, and some information on your spraying run, which I will show you more in detail when we have arrived at our test field. So how to set up the system for our spraying run? We hit new area, and then you see all the patterns I have just explained to you, the back-to-back, racetrack, and so on. Today we will make a racetrack pattern. Here you can set your swath width, which is the width of product you will bring out in one line, and it's set by default to 75 feet, which is a reasonable size for the Cessna Ag truck. I've found values from 30 feet up to 300 feet, depending on what kind of product you are bringing out. So if you're more like fertilizing, or if you're doing some pest control runs, and of course it's dependent on your airplane. So if you take the air tractor, you have a wider width of your swath than if you're taking the Cessna Ag truck or some helicopter. You can set your turn direction if you're turning left or right turns over your field. And then we have these two checkboxes down here. So I strongly recommend that you have mapped your spraying event, toggle spray, to one of your buttons on your joystick. And if you've done so, if you check these two boxes, the system automatically will trigger the A, the B and the C point every time you open or close your spraying valve. So every time you push this button, you have mapped to your joystick. I will show this in a second when we have arrived at our test field. For now, we hit start area, and then we can take off and fly to our field we want to spray. I recommend that you do these steps up to here before the start, because then you don't have to fiddle with the display in flight. Before we head to our field, a few words to this aerodynamic miracle called the light bar. The light bar comes in two variants, which you must pick right when you choose your airplane. You can pick the Ag-Nav Mod variant, which gives you the standard light bar, or you can pick the Ag-Nav Pro variant, which gives you the Pro light bar, which is also the light bar that we are flying today. The two variants just differ in the number of values that are given to you. So on the top you see the standard light bar, which shows from left to right the swath number. In the middle you have your cross-track distance and track angle graph, and on the right hand side you see the current cross-track error in feet. While the Pro light bar on the bottom shows you again from left to right the swath number, the ground speed, which is especially handy in the Cessna Ag-Truck 188 because the airspeed indicator is positioned quite low in the cockpit and you cannot really see it when you're looking outside. Then you have the sprayed area in acres. Respectively, if your spraying valves are open, it will show you the current flow rate. And on the right hand side again, you see the cross-track error displayed in feet. And on the top and the lower part of the Pro light bar, you have the lights for the cross-track distance error and the cross-track angle error. So now let's see how all this works out in practice. If you've been wondering, We are here in Tunica, which is on the west part of Mississippi, on an agricultural spraying field near the airport of Tunica. So let's see if we can manage this takeoff and head to our test field, which is just a few miles away from here. So here we have arrived at our test field, which is right in front of us. This here is our test field, and I will begin with the AB line on the right hand side of the field. There's a power line right in front of our field, which we have to keep an eye on, but besides this field is pretty free from obstacles, so besides the power line there's nothing much to look at. Let's start with the AB line. Now I've opened the spraying, set the A point. You see the green line marking where I've already sprayed. And now I'm heading up to the B point, which is this crossing. Close my spray, set the B point, and now we are heading to the opposite side of the field to mark the C point and to set the C line. Here's the airport of Tunica. And there we head back to our field. And now I'm setting a C point and pausing the sim for a second, and let's see what happened here. The moment I set the C point, the system knew what the spraying area is, and we've got all the spraying lines we have to spray. So every one of those lines is a line we have to spray next. The active line is always marked as a blue line, and as you can see in the moment, the C line is my active line, and when I will have completed it, it will switch to the next line right besides the AB line, because we are flying a racetrack pattern, which is shown up here. If you take a look at the light bar in front of us, it shows us that we are spraying the line 35, so it's the 35th line from the AB line. This is why it's called this line 35. Then we are going at 170 miles per hour. We have a current flow rate of 21.6 gallons per hour, I presume, and we have to fly 7 feet to the right to be right on our spraying track. So that was closed. Next line is shown. We are looking out on the power lines and heading back to spray the next line. A bit over-curved. Okay, and here we set the next line. 20 feet left of our ideal line. Now a bit of the right. And now we have to do the tight 180 turn to spray the middle of the field and continue with the spiraling movement across the whole field. This is quite a challenge as long as the airplane is full. this one worked out quite well. So I've got to go to the right. Now I'm on it. Now I'm over it. Now I have to go to the left. So now I'm on it. For the beginning, I strongly recommend not to look too much at the light bar, because it can become quite distracting and irritating. So for the beginning, just look at the display, which is much more convenient to be oriented where to go and where to head. And if you're really good at this, then you can go and take the light bar and position your lines really precisely on the field. But this takes a lot of practice, and I won't say that I am even close to mastering this. But yeah, basically this is how the crop dusting with the Ag-Nav system works. So now we're in the spiraling movement part of our racetrack and can complete the whole field. Maybe some more words on the parameters on the left side. Just pause for a second. What do we see here? We see that we have a swath width of 75 feet, that we are on the line 5 of 35 to complete our field. We have 22.9 sprayed acres, and we have a volume left in our hopper of 115 gallons. So far we have been flying at an average height of 26 feet during the spraying runs, and we have an overlap of 1.1% of the sprayed area, which is a really good value. Of course, this becomes harder when you complete the field, and I found that for me personally 10% or 15% in the end of overlap is a really good value. If you accidentally toggle your spray too much, so like this, and your line jumps one step beyond your actual line, this is not a problem, because you can always use the back button to go one line back or one line forward. So now we are back on track and can proceed with the actual line we wanted to spray. We are making our last pass. I've emptied the hopper down to a few gallons, sufficient for one more run, and then we have to head back to the airfield, refill and complete this field. So now I see there's 4 gallons left. This is not enough for a whole spraying run. We have to refill the aircraft. Let's see how we performed. As you can see, we have completed 25 of 35 lines, so 10 lines left to spray the whole acre. And the overlap has risen to quite a value of 28%, which is not my best work yet, but okay, I should be doing for this tutorial. So to complete this, we head to the airfield, refill the hopper and complete the run. But so much for the tutorial. I hope it helped you to understand how the Ag-Nav is working and what it is doing, and I hope that you will test it and enjoy some spraying runs with some real world aerial application patterns. For the time being, let's see if I can master this landing. Thank you for your patience. Like and subscribe if you like, and let me know if there's anything to add in the comments. I'm really looking forward to it. Bye bye.